Hello, everybody. It's a TrinWare podcast. Number 001. It's our first one. I'm Jeff. This is Natalia. And we are here to entertain you, hopefully bring you some interesting tech advice. And as we grow this podcast, there might be some good information in here that people will really be interested to hear about. So obviously bear with us as we figure this out. Natalia and I know a lot about computers and marketing and all that space, but here we are trying to do a podcast. So might be a little bumpy, but we'll figure it out. So I think it'd probably be appropriate, Natalia, to do some introductions to start if you think that's a good way to get going here.
I think so. Like Jeff said, this is our first little episode, so I'm very excited. Hopefully we are entertaining enough. I'd like to say that, off camera, we kind of are a little bit sillier than we should be, but I think it's a good thing.
I think you'll see that. I think you'll see that in here. That'll come in here.
It'll come in. It'll move its way in. But,
bring it in.
My name is Natalia. I am the marketing coordinator over here at TrinWare. I've been here for about a year and a half now. So it's been a really fun journey. Started here and, we've grown the marketing space, I would say tremendously so. I kind of got into the industry, kind of the marketing tech industry, right out of high school. And I was a bit of a nerd. And so I really liked all the gaming computers and, something was RGB. It was an immediate buy. And I immediately looked at it and just kind of, led to this. And so I'm, kind of excited to continue the journey, and I quite enjoy the tech space aside from being a nerd, but it is definitely kind of freaking me out that I'm knowing a little bit more tech stuff than I did beforehand, starting to actually answer a lot of the hardware questions and knowing what goes with what. It's a nice little double trouble. How about you, Jeff? Where did you come from? What did you do?
I don't think we can move to me yet. I think we still have to stay on the Natalia train because we're there, and why not just continue that?
Natalia train. Oh boy.
What are you? So how technology? What made you fall into this? Of all the different places that a marketer could fall into, what dropped you into technology and computers?
Well, truthfully, when I was kind of looking into a career space, I really wanted to go into psychology. Was my first
little
thing. Oh yeah, big time. I wanted to be a psychiatrist, and I wanted to go the entire doctor route. And
now I figure these kind of things out. Now it's there, but
see,
I've learned something already on our new TrinWare podcast.
Now it's open to the public, but no, and it's kind of funny when I say that because the majority, I would say almost every single marketer that I have met, they all have an associate's in psychology. I'm not even joking. It's the funniest thing that it just kind of transitions. Yeah, it's very interesting that we all just kind of transition into this space. Yeah, at the time frame, I couldn't really, the whole doctorates thing was a little intimidating at the time frame. I was right out of high school, didn't really want to do much there. But my fiance, boyfriend at the time, he was already working in tech, and he had they had a job opening for a marketing, assistant, like a first timer little intern. And it wasn't too much on the analytical side yet. It was very, very base level marketing, signs, designing posters and flyers and kind of doing their social media. And so it was very, just kind of those entry level steps. And, I ended up liking it. It wasn't too bad. I was a very, creative person already. I liked doing the art and kind of talking to people. It was easier for me to just go around and just, oh, hey, here's some, flyers, drop them off at whatever store was nearby. And,
sure.
Oh yeah, that's what I did like all day.
The fun marketing.
Yeah, it was almost a little bit of the sales, outbound a little bit too, because it was very much going into a lot of these, places and just dropping off the flyers and being like, hi, hand these out.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah. Fun.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. And from there I went back into like my, bachelor's degree, and marketing wasn't too bad. So I was like, I think I'm going to stick with it. And, went into an internship. for an AI company, and it was a little bit earlier branding at the time frame, and so wasn't quite yet to the boom that we have now, which was very interesting because it was almost like a sneak peek kind of before all of this stuff blew up, and kind of seeing the technology and the programming behind it, and
right.
So did a lot of marketing for that side as well, and that was really, really cool. Still within the tech realm, but it wasn't as hardware or software driven, but it was still a very interesting experience. And then that led me to good old TrinWare. Ended up applying when I graduated with my bachelor's. And if I'm being completely honest, it was a lot of rage applying, or what do they call it now? Yeah, rage applying, I think. I was very, very frustrated that I couldn't get like an official job. And I was like, I'm kind of sick of working at this like nice little retail store. It was nice, but, and truthfully, the person who was hiring from TrinWare at the time, he called me and he was like, "Hi, this is TrinWare." I was like, "Who?" I didn't say it, but I
had no idea who we were.
I was like, "I don't know who TrinWare is," and so finally
no
I looked it
idea.
up, and I was like, "Oh no, this is the one." Yeah, I saw, and like I actually kind of was interested, and I liked the
nice.
A lot of the concepts, and I remember he asked literally one question, and I answered it, and he was like, "Okay, when can you come in?"
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I will never forget. I was like, okay, yeah, that went smoother than I thought it was going to.
Perfect.
I think it was like a 7-minute in total conversation.
Yeah.
But no, it was pretty fun, and I guess the journey has kind of gone from there. It's definitely.
And now here we are, recording a podcast. Here we go. So I think what gave away that you are a computer enthusiast is what is underneath you right now. That keyboard.
Oh,
I mean, people who aren't into computers
know, right?
just have a standard, boring keyboard.
Oh no!
It's censored. It's censored. You have the RGB light up pink keyboard.
Pink keyboard.
So that has to tell us that you're a little bit of an enthusiast. Then what's up with that? What do you use a computer for when you're not at work?
Oh gosh, a lot of gaming. Big time gamer on the.
There's the secret.
Oh yeah,
the secret's out. Natalia's a gamer.
Oh yeah, and I kind of figured it would probably be a good place to release that information. I kind of came in and I was like, I shouldn't really tell people. And if I'm being honest, I was trying to be like in a stage of denial because I'm trying to get out of it, and it just didn't help. It just fell further and further down the rabbit hole, and being surrounded by all the technology, especially going into the warehouse for the first time. Oh, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. It was just huge. It was massive. It was I had all these products, and I was like, oh my god, like I've only really seen this kind of stuff at other like computer retail stores, and they're all more consumer based, and they have the pretty showcases and all that stuff, and so seeing it at such a large capacity, it definitely was a geeking out moment. And the longer I stayed in the tech shop here, the more it just got more and more nerdy. All of the guys back there are all gamers too, and talking to them about all the upcoming games and this, that, and the other, and it was really fun. It was really cool, really fun, and that's kind of how I got into the industry, and it's just kind of stuck.
Nice. Well, it always helps when you're an enthusiast because you know how the stuff works and you know how to interact with that stuff. And did I hear that you built your own computer? Is that what you said?
I did, yeah.
When you started here, I think I heard that. That is pretty cool.
Yep. No, built
That's
it
pretty
there.
Cool.
Been upgrading it since then. I have a nice little limited edition 4080 Ti. Yeah, no, it was.
Oh my gosh,
it was a little expensive, but it's really
look at
cool.
you go.
Oh, it's
and
so
what
cool.
What does that mean? I mean, for people watching that have never heard of those 4 numbers consecutively in a row that don't know what a 4080 is, why don't you educate us, Natalia, on what a 4080 does and what it is?
So, 4080 Ti, in I guess layman's terms, is going to be lingo for one of the graphics cards. And there's a couple of different brands and numbers. I think it's like almost like a scale is probably the best way to describe it. Literally just in a numerical, one of those words.
Yeah.
One of those ones, but it's in an order, and having a graphics card is going to, I would say, almost drastically increase the performance of your computer, depending on what you want to do with it.
Sure.
So if you do want to game, you're definitely going to want a higher performing graphics card. If you're designing, same thing, very, very large, and they also get bigger too as you move up in the scale. So they definitely used to be a lot smaller, and they're still smaller in laptops too. But so graphics card just means the kind of bigger and better that you have it. It's going to go a lot quicker. You can play fancier games, and you can stream as well a little bit better, and it definitely overrides quite a few of the main functions of the computer.
Nice. See how I turn the roles here? I mean, I haven't even introduced myself yet. I'm the guy who sold 800 million video cards over my career, but I asked you to explain that.
Yeah, I was like, I hope I got that right. Was that a trick question? Am I going to be
So later you're going to have to ask me a Photoshop question, like, how does layer on layer animation work in Photoshop? I will have no clue. I won't even know where to start.
What's the I'm like, what's the shortcut to undo something?
I think you explained that video card thing well, and what people are going to really get while they're listening to these podcasts that we're going to make is they're going to kind of see the experience that we have, the time that we've spent in this industry. It's going to become very apparent to people. We'll have different subject matter experts on that, can explain these things in ways that, we'll understand, but also that people can understand, because our industry is, notorious for acronyms and different things that connect to things, and those things do different things. And it's confusing to most people on how those things interact. What do they do? I can go to Amazon and I can just go buy a bunch of computer components, but how do you know if you're buying the right thing? Who's advised you on that? Right. Whatever, that's really one of the features that, let's plug TrinWare, because this is a TrinWare podcast. But that's something that TrinWare really does really well, is guiding the customer towards a solution that they want and making sure that they get the right thing. So, again, you guys are going to get an introduction to Jeff in a moment, but, I'm going to not introduce myself, and I'm going to tell you something. Then we'll go back to the introduction. I am the opposite of Natalia. Oh. And I am not a, I don't know what the right word is. I am not your typical, foundation for a computer user, which, computer enthusiasts are usually gamers, and, that's what they use their computer for. I don't. I am not a gamer. Right. Games to me is, solitaire, Minecraft,
the OG pinball on Windows XP.
Pinball. That was a cool game. That was a cool game. That's what I use my computer for. And I don't fit the profile, which is funny because, you would think that I would, with all of the years that I've been in computers, which is over 25 years professionally and longer personally, you would think that I would just be an ace about all that. I can't stand it. And Natalia, you're going to learn why I can't stand it. I was an old, arrow, the four arrows on the right side of the keyboard.
Yeah, right.
I played those old school games, right? Yeah. And so I remember when this happened, there was a game called Counter-Strike that came out. And my buddy took me to, you remember those gaming centers where you could go and just game for 2 hours. They had a bunch of computers and
Not
you
like
just
an arcade, but it was like a
kind of,
genuine like gaming.
yeah, they just have 40 computers in a room and you just go game.
You know, there's only been a couple of stores here in Aurora. I haven't seen like a full scale one except for the library. But
they may not be around anymore. I don't know. But my buddy took me there. He had a birthday party there, and he took me there to play Counter-Strike. And all of his buddies were playing Counter-Strike, and I was like, I've never played this. I'm going to try it. And I went to the arrows, and I tried to move the guy around with the arrows, and they laughed at me. And they said, you have to use the A, E, C, V space to go angled 90 degrees forward. But if you want to go over here, you have to hit 3 other keys. And I said, no, thanks. Seriously, this is how this went. So I said, no, thanks. And I seriously spent 4 hours there playing solitaire. Because back in that day, you couldn't just get online and play a bunch of games. I mean, it was all installed stuff.
Right.
And I never turned back.
It's just been...
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. No, it's
anyway.
Yeah, complete opposite. It was what was it? They stuck a computer. Oh, was it? No, we got our first like little home PC. I think I was like 4 or 5, and I still remember somehow, and I don't know how, because like I said, itty bitty. And my very first video game ever was, oh gosh, I don't know if I can say it. I'm like, I don't know if I can say that one, but it was a villain game. It was a little kid villain game. And like I remember like 90% of that game still. Yeah. And yeah, it's wild. Like a good chunk of the video games I played like growing up, they're still all in there. And I would cry a lot too. I think one of the arrow cues ones that I had to do was like Need for Speed, and 6 years old, I had no idea how to play it. And it was just insane. But yeah, no, it's very interesting that, you know, you don't have that gaming background that's kind of associated with it.
I don't conform to the normal computer enthusiast profile.
Right. Is it just like the aspect of the overall technology? Is that what kind of psychs you up with it?
Well, I love technology. I do. And I think now is a good time to introduce myself. I'm Jeff. Now that we're 21 minutes into this thing. So I have been in the computer world since I was 9 years old. Got my first computer when I was 9. And, my parents couldn't afford to get their own. So my neighbor, as he got new computers, they came over to me. And the first thing that I did was I took it apart, and it made my parents upset because back in those days, computers were not $299 at Walmart. They were $4,000 at Circuit City. Trying to pick a name that's not around that somebody will just cringe at. Circuit City. And, so I started taking my computer apart. And, back then I had a computer store in the neighborhood, and from the age of 9, I asked the people at that computer store if I could work there. And they said no. Oh. They wouldn't let me work there because you got to be 16. That's just how that works.
Almost there.
10 years old, 11-year-old, 12 years old. Every year from 9 to 16, I asked that place if I could work there. And they told me no every year, until I turned 16. And then I, officially worked there.
Nice.
So, career started there, selling computers, doing a lot of, different things with computers, recycling, e-cycle, the whole life cycle of the computer. And, from 16 on, I ended up moving through different places and channels in that place. And, as of a couple of years ago, I was the vice president of the place. I actually was running it. So yeah, kind of a cool, progression for myself. At that time I decided, hey, it's time to explore some new options. So, that led me to Dan and TrinWare, and, been here ever since. So that's my, little consolidated story. So, what do you learn at 25 years in this industry? It's frustrating. Very frustrating. You learn new things every day. The minute that you want to say no, that doesn't exist, you better check yourself, because there's a very good chance it does exist. That converter cable that converts a thing to a thing and then turns into a different thing. Very good chance that exists. You just don't know. So, I learned again very early on, never say no. That's certainly something that could happen. And, you just kind of learn and grow from there. So, my position now, director of sales, I sell computers, to businesses that need computers. TrinWare has a couple different sections. We have the managed services side. We have the production and fulfillment side, which is the side that I run. So we make computers for VARs, companies like digital signage companies, simulation companies. We're making that compute solution for them. So if they, so they can focus on their vertical, which is what they're really good at. They don't want to make computers. They don't want to do all that. They want to focus on their solution. So that's where TrinWare comes in, and that's my job. So, sounds easy. It's not. You got to know what the computer does, where it goes, how it looks, how it gets to that end user, how it's configured. There's a lot of ins and outs, and Natalia has inherited a lot of that knowledge as well, making us some awesome presentations. And I'm sure you kind of put your head out your office sometimes and say, what are these guys
still all of the time
talking about?
All of the time. It's still
like Greek.
No, I think that's kind of where, it gets to a point where I know the terms and, kind of what goes with what and some recommendations. But yeah, I mean, you guys over there, it's a completely different ball game. And
gibberish.
Yeah, I'm like with your chords and your acronyms and your this and that. And it's just, it's insane to hear you guys talk about it, especially with just all the different industries. I mean, all of them are completely different with what they need. And I have no idea how to place that stuff together. Like, I can do my gaming stuff, no problem. But marketing it, not an issue. But yeah, it's insane how much you guys know over there. And what was kind of like one of the hardest industries to put together computers for? Like, is there a specific?
Oh, it's enterprise all the way.
Enterprise, really?
Enterprise is just terrible. It's terrible. I mean, with a lot of your performance computers and, when you're dealing with a purpose-driven computer, there's always a specific solution, right? And there's some choices, but not a huge amount. So let's use an example. You go to Arby's, right? You ever been to Arby's?
Oh,
Natalia?
yes. They have the meats.
Are you a curly fry or are you a crinkle fry?
Ooh, curly fry, by far.
Good answer. Good answer. Just making sure.
You just have to make sure.
Just making sure we were on the same page, because crinkle fry would not be cool.
I didn't even know they had crinkle fries, if I'm being completely honest.
I don't know why they asked me that question. They shouldn't even. I get offended when they ask me that. It's like, do people really pick that other thing?
maybe they already know what I'm going to get.
They should never pick crinkle fries at Arby's. That's a sin. Anyway, sorry about that. I have no idea where I was going. Now I do. Okay, drive through at Arby's. You go to it. It's super cool. If you haven't been to Arby's, you have like 3 screens. They're all digital. They're all rolling content. It's really cool. And then in the thing up front, you're talking to the person, right? So behind that, there's a computer, and that computer, is probably pretty tiny. I mean, it's not big. We sell a lot of Nook products here, and Nooks are pretty small. So behind that's probably a Nook, and that's driving that menu board. But that Nook can only change so many different ways. It can only be maybe one processor, not too many different things. So you install that, and that's what makes all that drive-through cool stuff happen. Well, you get into the server world, you get into, rack mounted 1U, 4U chassis. And it's a crazy world. It's insane. There's different sizes. There's different drive capacities. There's different types of drives within those drive capacities. There's things that do different things within those. That's just, I could go on and on and on. And here's the TrinWare plug. If you go to TrinWare.com, I'll do this at the bottom so that you can add TrinWare in there later. Yeah, mark this time. TrinWare.com, and go to our shop page. You will see all of the different servers that we sell. And within those configurations, if you drop down one of those boxes, there are 150 choices.
That's just insane. I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't even, I do a lot of the back end things, but when it comes to, actually getting the design and, just the actual product layouts, it's just insane. I don't even want to look at it.
So I think the purpose of this podcast is really to just kind of set up who we are, because you're going to see our faces a lot in these things. And, what does TrinWare do? Who are we as a company? And, just kind of set that up. And then as we go, we're going to have some guest people on here that are going to talk about some different topics and really be that expert in those. And then hopefully we can send those off to some different people who have questions about those topics, want to learn a little bit more about who TrinWare is. And those little compartmentalized videos, I think, will be really important. But I got one more question for you, Natalia, before we break this off.
What is that?
What is most frustrating to a marketer?
Just in general?
In general. What's most frustrating?
When people ask for a PowerPoint and then the PowerPoint takes about a week because they don't like the PowerPoint.
All right, everybody. Jeff Myers. Nice to meet you guys. Have a good day.
Have a good one. Thanks.
I think that was a personal attack on me.
It's a little poke.
Was that a jab, Natalia?
No. I'll have to show you. The TikTok later. It's hilarious. Okay. With that.
I'm just kidding. I do ask Natalia for a lot of PowerPoints. I am a PowerPoint fan to this office's dislike sometimes, but I like that it gives you all the details. I thought you were going to say, because I did a lot of marketing in my previous life, I thought you were going to say when people aren't prepared with what they want.
Oh, no, that is a very good point. It is. It definitely kind of takes away all the fun of getting them through the, customer funnel. And if they already have their decision, then it kind of sucks. You can't really take them away from that.
No, what I meant specifically was when somebody comes to you and wants you to make something for them and they don't either explain it well or they just don't know what they want.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that's what you were going to say would be frustrating.
That kind of goes into the PowerPoint thing. You're like,
because then you make it.
It's like,
do stuff. That's right. I love that answer. Would you rather have a napkin with doodles on it, or would you rather not have any direction?
Oh, napkin with doodles. 100%.
For sure.
Done in ketchup and mustard.
People who don't know the marketing arena don't like doodling on a napkin because they're afraid that they're gonna, be embarrassed to do that. What do I say to you every time I doodle for you?
Oh gosh, literally, it's always.
What's my statement? I say one thing.
What do you say, John?
When I hand you this sticky note.
Well, I can tell you this: I still have a lot of the Picasso pieces.
Yes, that's what I say.
My wall here, so.
Save these. Someday they will be worth a bunch of money.
I am saving.
Or maybe
them,
not.
Ironically, I don't know. If
maybe they won't. I don't know. But it's Jeff Professional Drawing. For everybody on the podcast, it's really bad. It's not very good.
No, they're great. It's perfect.
They're a terrible drawing.
Don't listen.
Okay, so what do we get out today? We talked a little bit about you. We talked a little bit about me. We talked a little bit about TrinWare. I think we need to give a little bit more about that. What does TrinWare do? We are the computer producer. We're making computers for VARs. We also are an MSP. So the MSP space, we are an outsourced IT person for a company. So instead of going and finding somebody you hire that's an IT guy and that's his only role, we are the IT guy. We take that role. we come into your environment, and a lot of the times because you're not just dealing with one person, you're dealing with a group of people with TrinWare. You're going to get better support because you're getting a group of people that are helping you. You're getting, I think there's a group of probably 6 or 7 people back there that are helping you with your solution. Natalia, have you ever called in sick?
A couple of times here
Been
and
sick
there.
before? I've been sick. Everybody's done it.
Oh,
You go to the sketchy place and have dinner, that happens. What happens if the only guy that can help you in your environment is that IT guy and he's sick that day? Or maybe another question is, Natalia, have you ever been on vacation?
Oh, yeah, vacation.
You've been on vacation before. Me too. What happens when that guy goes on vacation? Well, now you don't have an IT guy.
Wow.
And inevitably, what happens the day the guy goes on vacation?
That sounds like you're not getting your IT needs met.
Everything breaks.
Yep.
Everything breaks when that guy flies to New York. So, have you ever been to New York?
I did. I actually went not too long ago in December. It was my first time as an adult there. It was pretty cool. I liked it.
Would you give it thumbs up or thumbs down?
I'd actually give it a thumbs up. It was a lot more impressive than I thought it was going to be. I was a little scared at first, but it was good. It was a pleasant surprise.
Where did you go before that?
I went to London and Scotland.
So would you say London is better than New York, or New York is better than London?
Sorry, New York, but London by far. Way cooler. Oh yeah, no, it was a little disappointing when I went shopping in London before I did shopping in New York, because it was just infinitely, it was just so much cooler, ancient buildings and the amount of brands and all that kind of fun stuff. It was a little disappointing when I got there.
And did somebody else go to London before you in the office?
I think that was a certain fella actually there was a lot of people that went to London that year, which is funny.
And me?
It was.
Guess where I'm going next week?
Are you going back to London?
No.
New York?
Yes.
No way.
So we'll just copy each other with where we're going.
That's so funny. Yeah, I guess we're just... All right, well, let me know what your plans are for next year.
Yeah, wherever you're going next, let me know, and I'll just go there after you. Make you go first so that you can tell me what it's like.
Yeah, that's funny.
But I have no idea where I was going with that. I have lost my train of thought.
Somebody in the tech industry went to New York. You're stuck. You have an IT problem. Everything's broken.
What are you gonna do? Your IT guy's gone.
Right.
Well, we got plenty of them here. So you have that emergency. That's where I was going. Thanks for putting me back on track. You have an emergency, you can call somebody. And, that's really what separates out an MSP versus an in-house IT guy, and a number of other things. And we're probably going to bring in some of those people who really know the long list of things and can explain that. But I think that's a good high level version of what Jeff does at TrinWare and what our other side of our business does at TrinWare. So,
oh yeah, no.
With that,
insanely talented as well. Definitely. Well, I'll say you guys are definitely the smarty pants in the company here. So
it's a team effort. You should see me in Photoshop. I wouldn't do very well.
Ooh, let's not talk about Photoshop.
You are the pro. You are the expert.
Don't.
So with that, I think that's good for today's podcast. Everybody knows who we are now. And then the next time we get on this thing, we're going to have some people in here that are going to have a ton of knowledge.
Oh, absolutely.
Could be me. Could be somebody else.
I'm thinking about
we'll have some fun.
What is it? A good old class on Photoshop. How to turn people into gooses. Geese.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So with that, I think that's everything. If you need any computers, any IT help, you have questions about your computer environment, certainly reach out to any of us at TrinWare. Happy to do a consultation, understand your needs. No charge for that. We'll just understand what your needs are, how we can support you, and see how that relationship goes. And we look forward to meeting you.
Absolutely. No, I think it's a good way to wrap up, Jeff. All of them are smart. If you call me with that stuff, I think I'm just going to forward you over to him. So, all right.
Have a good day.
With that one, I think it's a wrap, folks.